Good evening and welcome to Futbol En Vivo on Club Deportes, show number 7, lucky number 7. We are every Monday at 10 p.m. on clubdeportes.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at FootballAustin and follow Club Deportes at Club Deportes. And be sure to visit clubdeportes.com for all the latest and greatest sports news and commentary. I am your host, Eric McCoy, and I am joined by a man who has already cast his vote for Josh Wolff for MLS Coach of the Year. He's getting into early voting. It's David Alvarez.
I did vote, actually. I did vote in the neighborhood. And
Vote Wolff, huh?
For the primaries. And I'm not yet. Just
Not
the
yet
primaries.
Coach of the Year.
Yes,
Not
in
yet
the
Coach of the
primaries.
Year.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's in the primaries for sure.
Wow.
But
He's in the primaries. Okay.
yeah, he's the one.
Congrats, Josh.
I think he needs to prove himself still.
Okay. All right, I am also joined by a man with the most famous cowboy hat in Austin. It's Jorge Chavez.
Yes, it made an appearance on the opening night.
I saw it. I saw it on TV, and I know
appearance.
that guy. I know that guy right there. I love that hat. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and just get right into it. Let's get into a little Austin FC discussion here. It took Austin FC just 2 minutes to score the first goal at Q2 Stadium this season. A bit more efficient than last season, I think it's fair to say.
Yep.
Zaverde and Black were 5-0 winners over perennial wooden spoon holders FC Cincinnati. Jorge, let's start with you. How impressive of a performance was this?
It was a tempered win because
So you're not letting your excitement just run wild
not
here.
quite yet, but they look very good. Look, the chemistry.
Because this
looked very
guy,
good.
he already,
he's
got MLS Coach of the Year,
he already switched.
Supporter Shield. Because actually, if you look at the standings
If you
right
look at
now,
the standings, yes,
you know who's in the top spot. And it's not just because it starts with an A.
Yeah, it's
because on goal
because
differential.
they scored 5 goals.
5 goals.
But not to take anything away from Austin FC, they scored 5 goals, very good goals in different ways, and especially that back heel to Fagundes. Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah, that third goal was
that
really
third
that
goal
was the
a
pick of the
beauty.
litter right there.
That was that. I hope that gets considered for MLS goal of the week because it was very, very good. But
I think goal of the century.
yeah, well,
Okay.
you're really turning a
give you
lead there, dude.
So
Mr.
far.
Negativity is
Wow.
really
It was a-
excited to
It was a great goal.
It was a great goal.
goal.
Yeah, and so
goal of the century, perhaps a stretch, but
yeah,
a nice goal nonetheless.
But again, this is a little bit of deja vu. As a first-year coach, they were playing away from home, so Cincinnati, they're just not very good. I mean, flat out.
I mean,
for
that
4 years,
first
for 4
goal,
years running,
that
they're
set
not very
piece
good.
to have that mistake.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
wow.
was yeah.
What
So-
mistake? Which one?
Yeah, on the
The-
first
the
goal,
first
the
goal-
cross that comes in, that Cincinnati defender who's right
whiffed.
there that just totally whiffs on a chance to clear it and ends up falling. Here we
Yeah,
go.
here
Right
we go.
here.
Yeah.
Here's,
I mean,
just to refresh your memory here, David.
goes through
Look
one
at
guy.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
guys,
How are you going to
3
allow
guys.
2 bounces? That's actually 2 bounces.
Exactly.
That's a
One
Bill Buckner
look at
And
hat
that.
there, I said.
2 bounces
Wow.
on the area. It's like the same as a goal. Like 2 headers on the area is
Yeah.
a goal. Same thing. 2 bounces in the area is a goal. That's
Right.
Who does that?
That was the first goal. Here we got the second goal. This Alex
but that
Ring,
one-
That was a little bit
did
of a
he, did he
fluke.
mean
Let's
to
be
do
honest.
that? Did
yeah, he needed to do
David?
that, but he missed it. He hit it with his,
He
with
just tried to give
whatever
it
he
just a
could.
little
Yeah,
flick
he-
of the
Yeah,
shin pad. Is that what he
but it
trying
was
to do there?
the technique was there.
This goal.
The technique
Oh,
was
my
there, so
goodness.
it was beautiful goal. It was a goal. So
Yeah.
Goal of the century right here you're watching, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen. So
And
that was beautiful.
right.
get the popcorn out. You're watching something special right here.
Yeah, this one's. I mean, back heel to
Taquito.
back heel to
Un
back.
taco.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And he
this
got
is
it back.
taquito. That's,
So that's
and
that's a classic.
this one impressed me in the sense because of Danny Pereira, the awareness that he had. That
The awareness,
he had that chance to get it to Driussi.
Yeah, caught
And
FC Cincinnati napping.
They were
there
asleep
off
on
the
that one,
substitution.
and that was just. Cecilio is not going to get an easier goal than that probably all season.
He had a
So-
chance very similar that he did
Right.
not do particularly
That's
well
true.
on earlier.
He did
Why?
mishit it a little bit, but
That was one of the few chances
Yeah, one of
Very
the
few chances that Cincinnati had.
You guys say that, but and we'll get to it in a second when these highlights wrap up. But I actually think Cincinnati did have a few counter-attacking opportunities, particularly in the first half. This highlight is coming from the second half.
Right.
But kind of after Austin FC went up 2-0 as the first half before they scored that third goal, I thought Cincinnati did have a few good chances to get back in the game.
They did have two, like you said, in the first half. And they were very good.
But this was a classic.
This
I think.
one,
like that was beautiful because that one,
see, this right here,
cross when you just went over, and the cross was not that good inside. It was just lucky the goalie. Look at that cross. That was good. I mean, he kept it on the line, and Bailly was trying to give the pass, and
GT
he didn't mean to.
Famous from TikTok.
But GT, I mean, kudos for what he did. You know, like he went to the line when he went to the line.
I did not see one bad performance from any of the players. There were some guys. Maybe Ethan Finley was probably he came in the second as a substitute. He didn't really do too much, but by then the game was already decided, so he didn't have to do too much.
So I mostly agree with you there, Jorge. The guy that I actually was maybe a little underwhelmed with was Max Urruti. Up top. I mean, you score 5 goals, and Urruti, he actually just had 2 shots in this match, both of which were blocked.
Right.
To me, I was a little underwhelmed by Urruti. How do you feel about it?
He looked very active. So, if anything, he was a bit of he occupied the defense for Cincinnati that allowed all the other guys to be a little open. So, he really didn't have that many touches. But he moved well, and so the defense had to really know where he was, and so that distracted the defenders from the other players. So I think he played well in that role, but statistically, he really didn't do that much.
And I think you bring up an interesting point there in terms of occupying the defenders. I mean, if you have attacking midfielders like Cecilio, Driussi, Ring pushing further forward, if they can score goals, then you don't necessarily need your striker to be as integral of a goal scorer if you're going to get goals from midfield there.
Right. He just needs to know where his spaces are and attract people away from the other guys, and you've done your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this, though. Who do you think, as we saw it right at the end there, GT, actually that kind of just direct attacking play, we didn't really see that a ton from GT last season. So I know it's kind of a garbage time goal. It's 4-0. I don't want to read too much into it, but that is the Musa GT that I don't think we saw much of.
Yeah, that's the Musa GT all Austin FC fans were waiting for.
Exactly. Definitely. So I ask you, Jorge, put your cowboy thinking cap on here. The cowboy thinking cap.
Yeah.
At the season's conclusion, who will have more minutes as Austin FC striker? Urruti or GT? Who do you think will have the bulk of the striker minutes?
I think GT. To be honest. Because, again, it depends on how Urruti's going to perform from here for the next couple of maybe they'll make an evaluation at midseason probably to see where everybody's at. Adjustments are always part of the game anyway. But I really do think that GT is going to learn a lot from Urruti, and because of that he's going to excel because you could see how fast he was. I mean, it's the self pass. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So I think he'll surprise a lot of people. That just how much bounds he's going to go from last season to this season.
Yeah, and I really hope you're right, Jorge, because everything we said about Urruti occupying defenders, I think he's really great at leading the press.
Yes.
But man, if you could have a striker that scores goals. I know I said, getting the midfielders involved in scoring goals, that's very nice, but if you got a striker that can put the ball in the back of the net with a degree of consistency.
That's going to attract
every team wants that.
That's going to attract even more attention if he does end up scoring more goals. So.
Very, very good point, Jorge. Now, David, I want to bring you. You need to pay attention, David. We're doing a show right now. I don't know what you're. If I were a teacher, I would confiscate the phone. I'd have a little bag. Maybe I'd put the phone in. You can come get it after class.
I was just hearing about those wonderful players that we had this week. That's great. Driussi.
I'm glad to hear you're paying attention. Now, the question I have for you, I want to bring you into the conversation.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I want to ask you, how much of this victory, this 5-0 Austin FC victory, was about Austin FC playing well, and how much of it was about FC Cincinnati playing poorly? How excited should we get, basically?
I think we should be very excited. The people was excited. everybody's talking. I've been talking so bad about the team.
You have. Yes, you have.
Many people have been talking bad about the team.
You're not the only one, to be fair.
And then we got lucky to play against Cincinnati, which is obviously did not show much of a team.
Yeah.
Couple players were some notorious. I mean, Brian Vasquez, the forward.
Yeah, Brian Vasquez, I thought
he could play for Mexico. Actually, he played for the U.S. and it's like
the Vasquez Keller battle was a very fun battle to watch. Yeah,
and to be fair, Vasquez won more of the battles.
I agree. I agree with you. Yeah,
I didn't know he's very big, 6'3", an ideal big player that I think, and that they have another good Cincinnati. Have a couple other players. Another tall, I forgot the name, but he got a yellow card. He was really good on the ball too. He was really good. I was very impressed with him. But other than that, Cincinnati.
Perhaps you could look his name up on your phone.
Yeah, probably can do that.
That's what he was looking for.
Yeah, I was trying to look for his name.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati did not have much, and so it's kind of good for the team. And I think the coach said it after that, and it was so important to play at home and people feel that you are at home. Not only the fans, but the players. And the players need to have the confidence that when you're at home, you need to deliver.
Yeah.
And I think Wolff got it right on. I mean, you have to take credit for what he said because he acknowledged something very important, And
Wolff got it right on.
Wow.
David Alvarez.
Did you get that, Jerry? We're gonna keep playing that over and over.
Hey,
yes.
That doesn't mean that
So when FC lose Inter Miami,
next week when they use Miami,
if you let me know,
Wolff got it right on. David Alvarez, right there behind us.
I mean,
he did.
But the good
really
thing is he got it on, and and he needs to be more responsive to the crowd, to the Q2, stadium.
When you say he got it right on, do you mean the tactics? Do you mean
the personnel?
Well, he got
the personnel, the starting 11? Like what do you mean exactly?
He got the win, right? He got the win, and he never.
You're a results guy.
He have
It's
not
about the
had a
results.
chance to have this to say what he had to say today. When he had the last chance, he had to say that.
That's true.
So this is the first time he had it, and rightly so with the five nails. Says something, right? Says something and something's working.
Scored.
I don't know. He said
yes, that's
he said but he said also the long preseason. I don't think it was a very long preseason at all. But that I'm not gonna. I don't have to agree with everything that Wolff does, right? So okay. But
even
the
when
other
you
side,
agree, you still find a few.
I still agree with that. That was a great win, great for him, for his team, for the city. For the franchise. I mean, it is a great win, but still he has to deliver with the big names, with the big teams, with
week
Portland,
in, week out.
with with LA. Let's see, and that's what we're going to. Because other than that, we can talk with. Let's start with home. Let's beat Dallas. Let's beat Houston. Let's start in Texas. Okay. Yeah. And then
probably should start against Miami.
Once we do that, once we do that, I think we can okay.
And I think that's something that the players and Wolff himself and the coaching staff and everybody were concentrating on to make use of the fandom that shows up to Q2 Stadium and make it a fortress, make it a difficult place to play.
Yeah.
And I think Cincinnati was a little bit overwhelmed at the.
And I didn't see any fans. I didn't see any fans. There weren't like the 228, right?
It was a sellout, but I doubt there was a lot of people. I did not see it
because in that corner, right, it's 228. In the east side, that's the away section. I didn't see anybody there.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair to Cincinnati fans, I probably wouldn't travel very far to watch that team either. Just to be in defense of great FC Cincinnati.
They probably anticipate. Maybe they anticipate.
But they do have one of the best attendances, right? That was like.
No, they do. They do a very good. And you've been to that stadium, right?
I've been to the stadium.
Very good.
It's very nice. So
man of the match for you, David. Who was your man of the match?
Well, I think that's hard. Let me look it up. Alex Ring.
Alex Ring, the ringleader, huh?
Well, no.
So you like him in the more advanced position, then?
No. I do like him that type of, but I think it was so important to score that. As the captain, as a design.
He's probably not. If he wasn't playing in a more advanced role, he's probably not in the position to get that goal. He's probably positioned a bit further back on that set piece to try and defend
a
a
more
counterattack.
defensive counterattack.
So I think that as you give the credit to Wolff, I mean, that's one of his big decisions going into this season, right? Is moving Ring into that more advanced role. So, yeah, I think he got that one right.
Yeah, he got it right. I mean, that goal, I mean, you could say that he tried to do it. He just missed it. But he
got just enough.
He got enough.
He got enough of it.
Good thing he wears the extra.
But the technique was there, right? Like
Yeah.
everything was right. So he had to go in. There's so many beautiful goals. And I mean, Cecilio, I mean, had a great day. I mean, you have to give credit to Cecilio.
And Cecilio is not someone that you always
No, I don't. But
enjoy.
He was there. When the first goal, he was there.
Yeah.
He was there.
He was in the right place, the right time.
You cannot say anything about that. And then the second one.
Now, I have a question for you, David, because you, in regards to Cecilio, so a couple weeks back, you said 6 goals would represent a good season for Cecilio.
Yes, I did.
Cecilio is already on 2 goals after this game.
Yes.
He's a third of the way there.
Cecilio only scores 4 goals between now and the end of the season. It's still a good season?
It's a good season.
It's still okay, because I think a lot of people out there might disagree with that and might say it's not. I can already see the tweets.
Well, in the history.
But I just want everyone to know it's still a good season.
How many he has? I don't think he had more than 7.
He had 7,
goals.
exactly.
He had 7
At least he had
goals.
7, right?
Yeah.
So.
And one thing to keep in mind, he was taking penalties last season. It looks like Driussi is probably going to be
Driussi definitely.
not going to have penalties to be.
Have those 2 goals. That's amazing. That's great. You know. I mean, just don't stay in the floor so long. I mean, the only thing I have to say,
it is difficult to score when
he
you're on
still
the ground.
managed to do that, by the way,
I mean,
on a couple of occasions.
If he doesn't do that often, I would, I regret what I say about him. But he needs to stop it. I mean, come on, we need to watch football and watch that.
But I would like to mention that the player that I was impressed with.
Yeah, who was your man of the match?
Danny Pereira. And the reason why is because his positioning as the box to box player that he should have been last season, that allowed Alex Ring to be on the more offensive part of the midfield. And so that opened up the possibilities for everybody else in the front, because he was, again, caveat is that Cincinnati isn't very good, but still he was able to cover the defensively. And he had that great pass that he passed it on to Driussi, who passed it to an open net for Cecilio. So, which is an interesting dilemma to have, because Johan Valencia is the one that was supposed to be playing his position. So now Wolff is going to have a very difficult decision on who to start from now on. Danny, who's played very well, or Valencia, who is still probably not acclimated enough to the team and to the city.
He was a little bit
everything.
too. He was not ready. Last game, he got a yellow card. Right.
Yeah, that last game he came in as a substitute and he didn't perform all that well. But so that's going to be an interesting dilemma for the coaching staff, I think.
It will be, and I agree that I think Pereira he did stand out to me as well. I would like to, when I kind of shift on to talking maybe about some of the more negative aspects of this match, if you can have negative aspects of a match that you win 5-0.
Yeah.
But to me, I think Austin FC still struggled in defensive transition. This is an area that we've all talked about, not just us, but pretty much everyone covering this team has mentioned that Austin FC needed to do a better job at defending counterattacks. And if you look at just kind of like the expected goals numbers, I mean, Cincinnati, 1.3 XG that they put up in this match, 13 shots. I mean, I think it's fair to say like a better team with better finishing probably would have made Austin FC pay for some of these.
They would have put 3, a good team would have put 3 goals easily into the net, definitely.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jorge. And so I agree, Pereira, very, very nice in terms of that box-to-box role, but I do wonder, do you think maybe a fit, fully acclimated Johan Valencia maybe would do a better job shielding the back line and stopping some of those counters as opposed to Pereira, who I think even though he was definitely the more defensive of the two between him and Ring, but I still think it's just his natural inclination to want to get on the ball, get up the pitch, drive forward, and I think at times that can hurt Austin FC on the defensive transition.
Yeah, but it is definitely the more offensive
offensive of the defensive
midfielders. The midfielders, and Valencia is definitely the more defensive of the two, and so that's going to help a lot because Kip Keller played well, but he did get beat several times.
Yeah, he looked like a rookie.
He looked like a rookie on little spurts here and there.
Yeah.
But he played well. He just it's his first game, so he's he's still getting acclimated himself. Cascante played okay, and Lima and Kolmanic played their usual selves more on the attacking wings. Yeah. But so they really need to tighten that down, and I'm hopeful Gabrielson will be.
He came on. It looks like what in the 65th minute.
He came in for a little bit, yeah.
And it's like watching on TV. I didn't really get a good feel for how he played exactly. Did you notice anything live?
I mean, Cincinnati was already beaten by then, so they didn't really.
It wasn't really a competitive match.
They were kind of trying to stop the bleeding, so they played a little bit more defensive. So they didn't really attack all that much.
Yeah.
But I am, like I said, I am hopeful that Gabrielson will offer a little more stability as the central defenders.
And is it Gabrielson and Keller for you as the starting?
I think so. I think so. Maybe with some spells by Cascante as starter.
Do you think Romagna is kind of the odd man out here? Do you expect his minutes to go down?
No, I expect him to come in. Maybe a little bit of combination, but I think definitely Gabrielson will be the starter, and then probably Cascante will be a replacement substitute for him, and then Kip Keller and Romagna will be the ones flipping back and forth. So it'll be mostly Gabrielson and Kip Keller, with the other two guys kind of alternately starting every once in a while.
Gotcha. And where do you stand on this, Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
If you're paying attention.
Yeah.
To our,
I'm looking
our
at
show. You're looking at the stats, huh?
The stats, yeah.
A bit of a number cruncher, aren't you?
No, not much.
So I want to just circle back to that defensive midfield burgeoning controversy, I think you could say. Who do you like? Are you a Danny Pereira guy, or do you think Valencia might actually give the team a bit more defensive stability?
Danny Pereira.
So you're Pereira all the way?
No. I think Valencia, between him and Valencia, I think I would go for Valencia.
Okay, yeah. I think like we were talking earlier about Urruti and Gite, and we kind of thought that as the season progresses and Gite gets more comfortable, gets up to speed with MLS, that he can usurp Urruti in the starting 11 because he's got a higher ceiling, I think, as a player. I think he's probably a more talented player than Urruti. And I think similarly about the Pereira and Valencia situation. I think as Valencia gets acclimated to the league, gets comfortable in Josh Wolff's system, that, he is the more talented of the two and probably the better fit for the system. Because if you want Ring going forward, someone's got to stick around and sit in front of someone's got to sit in front of the center backs. Yeah. And I think, it again, defensive transition, Austin FC just have to be better in that area of the field. So, and I think Valencia, long-term, probably gives Austin FC the best chance at improving in that area.
That definitely, that's what I see from, and I think Pereira has been also adapting. He's adapting very well right now after the first game, but I'm not 100% on him. I think he also needs more time. He definitely.
It's only his second year out of college. So,
he needs the same thing. I think that experience that Valencia already has.
That's true.
He already has that experience at that level, right? So I think it's more for him to be back there, I think, than Valencia. That's what I think. But who knows? We'll see what Wolff would decide in that position. But
in Wolff we trust, right, David?
No.
not quite ready.
And he's back
not
on the
quite ready to go that far. So according to Jorge, though, in terms of the center back situation, it sounds like your favorite Cascante-Romagna pairing, that may be a thing of the past.
Yeah, it is.
And so are you sad about that? Or are you?
No, I'm fine.
How are you coping? Are you doing okay?
No, I'm actually really happy about it. Because it was not
You're a tough guy to predict, David.
But because it's the only thing we had last year.
The only thing we had.
Yeah. It's
for half the season. After we, again, like I said, after we lost Beasler.
I don't know if that was a good thing.
It just crumbled between them two. So.
Well, it's just they were too. Every time somebody tried to do it, one-on-one, and
they would beat them.
They would beat him in the race. You know, it's easy.
And to be clear, you enjoyed the center back pairing, despite the fact that anytime
I
someone would go
did
one-on-one.
enjoy. I mean, I thought they give more stability to the team, like than other options when they weren't there.
Yeah, that's true.
And the many times they weren't at the same time. You know, so that was my thing. You know, sometime of the season, but you know. Let's not talk about that. Let's just think about the future. I think.
And so are you? So Jorge is, and I agree with Jorge that I think we're Gabrielson and Keller. I think is likely the first choice, and then you agree with that.
Yeah.
How did you rate Keller's performance in this match?
Maybe he was acceptable.
Acceptable
for a first game.
Rave review.
You know,
I think you're right. Though I think you're right.
It's acceptable. I mean, he passed.
I think one thing I know. So I wrote down he had 4 fouls in this
and
match.
a yellow.
And a yellow, yes, yellow. Cascante 0 fouls. I think it's definitely he is the aggressor.
Yeah, he's a more
back.
active defender.
Yeah,
absolutely. Is he perhaps a bit too aggressive in your mind? I mean, I know, especially in like the FC Cincinnati goal kicks, he would come way into midfield.
I mean, you can think it's the first game too. You know, you can say it's the first game.
He was probably super excited to play.
That's very
he was probably super excited to
you don't
playing,
want to see, man. You're not gonna be like Ramos, you know, or
it's not
somebody that
or Van Dijk or somebody like that. No.
They're usually mostly punished and
he's gonna go in there.
But some people that's what they do, you know.
Yeah, they just get in there.
But no, I don't think. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's not a trend.
Well, I mean, I think you want to have a bit of that aggression. It just needs to be reined in a little bit.
Yeah.
Turn it down a notch or two. And I think it should be okay. Okay, do you guys – I want to get some predictions for Inter Miami. Before we do that, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add about the big 5-0 win over FC Cincinnati?
It just gives the team confidence. I mean, that they can – that they started well doing what they wanted to do, which is to make Q2 Stadium a hard place to play in. And hopefully that showing will have other teams that are going to come to visit to think twice about how much damage they can do here.
Yeah,
agreed. What about you, David? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, we already talked about it, and I'm thinking about the new chapter, which I think that important thing is how we do against Miami. I think that's the thing.
That's the next test, definitely.
Before I comment about what happened here, I want to have a full picture.
Yep.
So we need to have a full picture this Sunday, and I think Miami, it's going to be.
Okay, so you've set me up nicely here, Debbie. Let's talk Inter Miami. Do you got any predictions that you'd like to have for this match? Inter Miami, they had a 0-0 draw their first match with the Chicago Fire. Jordan Shaqiri's Chicago Fire.
I know, wow.
They had a 0-0 draw, and I actually watched this game. All right, so I actually watched Inter Miami Chicago Fire. It was actually a pretty good match. There were good chances on both sides. And just to give you a little scouting report before you make your prediction on Inter Miami, David, it was kind of a 5-3-2 formation that they played. You got Gonzalo Higuain. I don't know if you remember Gonzalo Higuain.
Yeah, Gonzalo Higuain.
He is up top in that front too, but he's not where you really would expect him to be playing. He's not the striker as much as he's the number 10 in this Inter Miami team. So he's kind of more of a facilitator. He likes to. Wow. He actually is wearing the number 10. And he's playing up to that number.
Who is playing top?
So it is an under-22 initiative player, Leonardo Campana. And he had several really good chances in this match, all of which he missed. But he was getting in some really dangerous positions. And I think he looks like a decent player. He obviously got to finish a bit better. But I wasn't overly impressed with Inter Miami, but I think they will represent a stronger test than Cincinnati. They do... looks like to play more on the counter. It was definitely more of a 5-3-2 as opposed to a 3-5-2. Had just 41% possession. So, yeah, I think a sterner test than Cincinnati. How do you see this one going for Austin FC against David Beckham's Inter Miami?
I see it. I think that's a decisive game. I think my prediction for it.
Your prediction?
Oh, I think it's gonna be. So it's going to be a win.
Do you have a score?
2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wrote down as my score prediction.
Wow.
So great minds are thinking alike.
Hopefully, and
Jorge, do you want to just create a little bit of dissension here, just so we can kind of maybe argue a little bit, or what do you got?
It's going to depend if it's 5 defenders in the back for Miami. It'll obviously be a little more difficult for the guys, but they played with such precision. I think the midfielders and the forwards that I think they'll be able to cut through pretty easily against their back 5. So I'm saying 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
Wow. See,
somebody really got into that game.
Okay, someone is confident. That'd be a +8 goal differential for 2 matches.
The reason why is if you look at Chicago Fire, they weren't all that impressive last year, and they didn't look other than
very
Shaqiri.
overhauled team.
Other than Shaqiri, I mean, he didn't really. I guess it was debuts, getting acclimated to MLS. Same old story, but they didn't look like they attacked all that much. Compared to what Austin
the question,
FC
I have one
attacks,
question.
so.
There was a lot of people at the stadium. It was in Chicago. The game?
No, it was
in
Fort
Miami.
Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale.
It was in Miami.
Oh, okay. My question, because has been always Chicago used to have a great following, and then when Cuauhtemoc was there, and then all of a sudden, people that stopped going to the games.
They had issues because they kept going from Chicago, from the city of Chicago, to some city outside of
suburb,
some suburb similar to Dallas.
With Dallas. That's usually a kiss of death for MLS when you get away from the city centers.
And so it's something similar because if we look at, I just saw a tweet just before we came on, FC Dallas's attendance was 59% capacity. They had 12,000 people showing up to the game. Now the excuse was, it was cold and rainy.
They love their excuses.
We had cold and rain just as they did, and we filled up the stadium. Not all of the people. Maybe not a lot of people went, but it was a sellout.
Few empty seats.
So there was a few empty seats.
But not many.
But not many.
Not as many as there were in Dallas.
And so
or Houston for that matter.
And so it's a similar situation to Chicago. Is that they kept going back and forth to different places, trying to get the people to go to the games, and it hasn't quite worked out yet, but I think, Shaqiri's definitely going to help.
Yeah.
I want to fly to Chicago to watch Shaqiri. I would love to because
we
fun guy to watch.
We need Chicago, we need the Chicago.
Futbol En Vivo road trip. Let's go.
Yeah, we really need Chicago to be a player, if you will.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
Be like Austin. Be more like Austin.
Everybody should be more like Austin, by the way. But
okay, I'm the only one that little journalistic neutrality here.
Yeah,
a couple of homers sitting here next to me, but okay, I like what you said there, Jorge, in terms of your predictions for this match. One of the things I think is interesting, Inter Miami are going to look to sit deep. And I am very interested to see how this Austin FC team does against a compact defense, because we know last season, the 2 big issues, this team couldn't defend in transition, and they also really struggled just breaking down those parked buses.
Yeah.
Those dreaded parked buses, David, that gave this team so much trouble. And I actually think in this match against Cincinnati, other than that third goal, you had the first 2 goals come from set pieces. You had the FC Cincinnati falling asleep after the substitution for that 4th goal. The 5th goal was a bit fluky. So really, it was only that 3rd goal where you really saw a genuine open play. Build up. So it'll be interesting to see against a Miami team that is likely going to look to sit deep what this Austin FC attack can do.
And they're gonna want to do counters, definitely.
Absolutely. And I said, Higuain in that number 10, a slimmed down Gonzalo Higuain,
right?
As opposed to how he looked when he was with Chelsea. He was a little slimmer.
And that's why I anticipate Valencia starting, kind of going back to what you were saying, that Valencia is the more experienced defender. So I think he's going to be more useful to be able to counter those counterattacks.
Because,
by Miami.
I think, like Rui Diaz did, with Seattle.
Yeah.
Right? He did.
That's
what
true.
he did, he just took long. He saw that he could take a shot from far away,
from almost midfield.
And that's the same thing with Higuain. He can do. Higuain can take a shot.
That's true.
Take advantage of some weakness.
That's a very good point, David. Excellent scouting. And I would like to go ahead before we move on. I would like to go ahead and extend an open invitation to David Beckham. We invite you to Futbol En Vivo. You're welcome. anytime you want to
Yeah,
come on.
I will gladly give up
invited.
my seat to
Tocayo.
Tocayo. That's right.
How you say tocayo in English?
There is no
There,
equivalent in English.
okay, before we move on from MLS, here are the standings. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. On the ball,
Oh, look
Jerry.
at that.
Look who's top.
In top, I
Looks
mean,
nice.
that's always nice to see Austin in top, you know.
Very, very nice. Anything from the other action around the league that stood out to you? Any surprises? Any great performances that you took note of?
Well, I thought part of the Portland game, the Los LA game. I mean, I saw some of
Which one?
Galaxy?
LA, the FC, like the
LAFC.
Carlos Vela.
Carlos Vela,
He's back.
He's back.
He's ready to go.
The hat
isn't he?
trick, you know, hat trick. He's the national team. So Chicharito.
Don't say it too loud, Jorge Terrell.
Chicharito's goal was
Yeah.
a golazo too. I mean, for the other LA. So that shows that there's two people that need to be playing the national team and they're not. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like mysteries.
I think Vela
There's
is more of a
mysteries.
personal decision, right?
Vela already said that he's gonna make way for the young people to play. So he's.
But-
Oh, I know, but Chicharito.
Chicharito seems like
Chicharito
more of a
he still
political
has the
kind of
desire to play.
situation
He has
there,
the, you know, he's the highest striker for the national team.
And I think Mexico
And he
has
has a
a
record.
need at that position.
he's so
They
calm.
really. I mean, if anything, he's a locker guy. So
Oh, yeah.
you know to give thanks and have the guy there and just clap on the good plays and everything. You need a guy like that in the locker room, and he definitely.
We need somebody like that in our locker room too.
We need somebody like that playing striker. Even beyond the line, we could use a goal scorer like Chicharito.
I think Drusy, I think for me also was very, very important.
Drusy was excellent. He was my man of the match.
That's when going back to that was, I think, when I say ring because of the symbolism, but really for in the field, I think Drusy shows what he's made of.
Yeah,
what he's
that's
made
true.
of, and you can see it like clearly. Beautiful goal with the back heel and then get the ball back and score. Classic. So
excellent stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Europe, and let's talk a little League Cup final. As much as I don't want to talk the League Cup final, we probably should. As Liverpool defeated Chelsea 11-10 on penalties. It was a 0-0 after extra time. But don't be fooled, David. It was a very exciting, very enthralling match. And, of course, the big point of contention in this match, or at least on the field, the big point of contention in this match was the decision to sub out Edouard Mendy. Chelsea's goalkeeper had several fantastic saves in regular time in this match to sub him out before penalties in favor of Kepa Arrizabalaga. Was this the right decision to sub off Mendy and replace him with Kepa? Now, keep in mind, Kepa in this penalty shootout saved 0 penalties, so all 11 penalties Liverpool converted, and then he missed the decisive penalty that ultimately allowed Liverpool to triumph. So it could not have gone any worse, literally could not have gone any worse for Kepa. But was it the right call to have him?
It was the wrong
subbed
call. It was the wrong call. You know that it was
Easy
the
to
wrong
say.
call.
Easy to say.
Easy to say. But as a coach, you had to see what happened. In the Africa Cup of Nations,
Mendy was very good.
Mendy had to take care of those penalties, right? He had to take care of the penalties. So when they played the World Cup, then Mendy stopped. Kepa play, right? Kepa
right.
play, and he did great too. He made some great saves on those penalties.
No, he actually, this is... So Tuchel, after the match, he defended... you see right there, it's just... not a good look right there.
Yeah.
10-11 is just crazy.
But that's wonderful to see 10-11. When do you have to see that chance to see?
You never see
so many
like
goals.
It's similar to the Europa League final, right? Manchester United Villarreal was a similar...
I love when you see that type of certainty.
Everyone's just making them.
Making it, and then but in this case, Liverpool is just they deserve to win.
Why are you doing this to us,
Jerry? I don't like that. Get that off.
Deserve to
Usually,
win.
I love your visual cues here, Jerry, but I'm not. I object to that.
We
It
object.
was, at the end of the day, they were a better team. They didn't have Kepa, right?
Yeah.
And Kepa really missed that penalty. He didn't know how to shoot the penalty. Like
he had some problems with
he ran to the ball. I say to you guys, when he was running towards the ball, I saw the first step. It was the wrong step. It didn't have balance.
Right.
Didn't have balance, and he was short from the ball. I was like, how is he gonna fix that? He's gonna do like a.
Did he go too forward or
too back?
Kick
it with his toe is gonna be the easiest thing, but he did kick it to the next. I think Jupiter was getting close to the.
He's still orbiting
the ball. Actually landed out in the parking lot here at Club Deportes Studios. If you want a souvenir, David, just walk out in the parking lot and we'll have the ball.
It was awful, and it's kind of sad because like Kepa's been such a player important in the wrong time, in the wrong moments.
No, and he's had such confidence issues, and he's really, I mean, he's been very good at stopping
he's been
penalties.
Doing great.
And so, like, he's kind of worked hard to gain that confidence back and have a moment like this.
But if you don't stop 10, you don't get close to 10 penalties. That's something
it could not have gone worse.
Neither keeper did a very good job of stopping.
Bravo would not allow that to happen.
Keller, Liverpool's keeper, he was fantastic during the actual match itself as well. He had several very, very big saves. But to kind of like Tuchel, this was a predetermined decision. It was decided before the match. And Kepa was going to come in. So it kind of a leading question to ask if it was the right decision, because really the decision was made ahead of the match.
I would have done the same thing. Probably.
Yeah, and apparently, according to Tuchel, actually, I mean, Kepa actually spends more time practicing penalties in training. I guess that's just kind of one of his areas of expertise. And in the Super Cup earlier this season against Villarreal, this exact same situation happened. Match goes to penalties, and Mendy is subbed out. Kepa comes in. Did a much better job in that situation, Kepa, than he did against Liverpool. But, yeah, I mean, it was a predetermined decision. So I want to actually talk for a second here about Liverpool, because, and really kind of in broader terms of the Premier League title race, because we have a title race. Let there be no doubt about it. Do not listen to our previous shows where we
played themselves into contention. Definitely.
Don't listen to me.
And so the question I have, considering Manchester City are looking a little wobbly, they were not convincing against Everton this weekend. Is it fair to say that Liverpool are kind of the in-form team, not just in England, but really in all of Europe right now?
Well, they have 4 things to do, right? There were 4 cups.
So
4 cups already.
Whoa.
Right, so
are you talking a quadruple?
One down, so 3 to go.
3 to go.
All right, David's a little carried away.
Yeah,
himself over here.
Not only because of that, because you have to think how important it is to bring Luis Diaz to a team.
He was fantastic.
That seems like he's been there forever. In Liverpool,
yeah, he's
I think Mosley had this chance to be everywhere, to be in the Champions, to be fighting for the Premier. 5
forwards that they can rotate through that front 3 that are all
how they have been working so good. I mean, and now what our friend Fabinho, the Brazilian.
Thiago?
No, the Brazilian.
Coutinho. No, Firmino.
Firmino, sorry, thank you.
Should have had the phone out to look
Firmino, no, he's playing not. He's not playing forward no more.
I think he had an injury for this. He played relatively.
But he has been playing more back. He's been playing.
Jota is getting more minutes.
Yeah, Jota's way more than him. And, I mean, you can easily have him too there. So
there's so many options.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
And the headers and
this is the deepest team that the club has had.
Yeah, and all the crosses, like every cross they do, it's just like
and Alexander Arnold is the best creative player in the world. Is Liverpool's right back. I mean, he's exceptional.
And then you had to say Mendy that save from
on Mane. Yeah, that was
and the other one from the header from. At the end of the game. Big header.
Yeah.
That big save.
I've tried to erase as much of this match from my mind as possible.
The memory is blank on those. Yeah,
where do you stand on this topic here, though, Jorge? Liverpool or Manchester City? Who is the better team right now?
Well, I mean, they were already in better form, Liverpool was. And this win is just going to give them more confidence. And because they know that they can beat Manchester City. So Manchester City just needs to keep pace. And all Liverpool needs to do is just chase them.
And they have a head-to-head, so
I really foresee
that would be April 9.
Yeah,
April 9.
Honestly, I foresee
for my birthday.
This being decided on the
birthday gift you got, David.
I foresee this happening. That the title's not going to be decided until the last game of the season. That's going to come down to the wire.
I really just want to see a title race that goes that far.
But it's so many factors we need to deal with too.
I mean,
the situation now in Ukraine and
yes. We should probably go ahead
Cinco.
we should probably go ahead and touch on this a bit. And actually, as it pertains to Chelsea, there was actually some big news on Saturday where Roman Abramovich, Chelsea's Russian owner, did announce that he was relinquishing the stewardship and care of the club to the Chelsea Foundation. It's a charity organization that Chelsea runs. They do a lot of work with anti-Semitism. To be clear, Abramovich is still remaining owner,
he's still the owner
of the team. This is just kind of the day-to-day operations, stewardship, and care. I mean, this is getting. I am not a lawyer. I don't know really a whole lot about legally what exactly is going on here. Apparently, as of today, I was listening to a Chelsea podcast on The Athletic, and this takeover isn't even official yet. The Chelsea Foundation, the trustees that are a part of that foundation, haven't actually agreed to take over stewardship and care of the day-to-day operations at Chelsea. So there's still a lot of issues to be at play and to be decided there. Yeah. So we'll learn more, I guess, as this progresses.
There's no Gazprom sponsorship.
Yes.
That's Gazprom from Schalke.
Yes. And I think maybe the biggest news was FIFA and UEFA have actually suspended Russia from competing in international games until further notice. This means Russia will not play in their World Cup playoff against Poland on March 24th. That's off. And on the club side of things, Spartak Moscow will not play in the Europa League round of 16. So RB Leipzig, their opponents, they advance. And then the Champions League final, which of course was set to be played in St. Petersburg, Russia. That's
the birthplace of Putin, I believe.
I believe so.
I think you're right, David. That's off. I think Paris, the
Paris,
Parc de France.
I think it was moved to Paris.
Yeah.
So Messi could be the hometown hero. It's written in the stars, I suppose. But crazy stuff going on. Obviously, a ton of things way more important than football going on there. And I mean, I think I speak for all of us. Our thoughts, prayers, everything, all that goes out to Ukraine, the people there. Yeah, it's just a very scary, sad, tragic situation.
And it was obvious the outpouring of support because at the Austin FC game there were two Ukrainian flags almost in the front. You saw that pretty much in every stadium all around the world. I mean,
all around the world. It's a worldwide. And it happened with all the Ukrainian players that many of them are playing.
Some of them are. I mean, I cannot even fathom what they're going through right now with their families back home and everything.
And they support from Russian players too, like some Russian players are being vocal about.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, those guys are caught in the middle because I mean, it's such a difficult situation because, I'm sure the Russian players and the clubs have nothing to do. It's out of their control.
Yeah, very much so.
As far as telling their leaders to invade Ukraine.
It's like being in the army and you get punished for whatever the captain did. Yeah, everybody get punished for it, right?
And so same situation with these guys, but
at the same time, there's other things that are more important.
And so
life is one of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think unfortunately, because I didn't read the same information you did, but I did read an article where they were thinking of FIFA of not letting Russia per se play, but letting the players in a.
It was similar to what happened with the Olympics in
which
Russia,
is dumb.
It
was ridiculous. And so, I read an article where saying that the FIFA is making the same mistake IOC is by allowing these guys to play.
I could be wrong. I think that was their initial move.
That was the initial
move. I think because there was a lot of negative backlash towards it, I think they then took the step to go ahead and say, no, it's just off.
Especially considering that just 3 years ago, the World Cup was in Russia. And, Putin took full advantage of having.
Well, the Olympics were in Sochi.
The Olympics were in Sochi.
So there was an entire move to do that.
Formula One just raced in Russia. I mean, there's
It was, obviously in retrospect, they probably wish they didn't have to make that decision, but.
So I think, we need to live with it and support it, but and then be aware of the changes that can happen. I mean, we have other situations with war, and during the World War II situation when there was no World Cup between 1939 and 1949. 48. So that was all that time we didn't have a World Cup.
Yeah, and the guys on the previous show discussed it a little bit more and further. Qatar is not that far away from Ukraine and the world stage, and so and it's such a compact country. If Russia really wanted to make some damage, that would be a sport for that to happen. I mean, God forbid that.
It's so interesting when we're talking about Qatar and I'm thinking about beIN Sport, and beIN Sport no longer owns the rights for all this.
Yeah,
all the leagues before beIN Sport, Qatar used to own all the, and now
still got League One.
Everybody,
you got League One.
Yeah, and that's it, right? But they used to own everything.
And the Copa Libertadores, that's all.
Oh yeah, man, you got it.
And I think,
but in the old days, now they don't need to.
They had everything. They had Syria, they had La Liga, they had it all. Yeah.
And then now they have the World Cup, so they don't need it anymore. Just let it.
But again, I mean,
PSG.
I mean, you touched on it a little bit. I mean. All these Russian companies that are sponsoring clubs, Schalke, Abramovich owns Chelsea. There's probably a lot more dominoes to fall before, before we.
Yeah,
so you have to be aware of it, and I think we need to get involved with it too,
Yeah, definitely scary times, but a lot more to unfold for sure. So let's go ahead and move on. And unfortunately, I can't move us on to a happy subject. The somber mood will continue because the Marcelo Bielsa era at Leeds United has officially ended. David's taking his hat off.
David takes his hat off in tribute.
He needs a moment. We got to give David a moment.
So we call him, we have a name in Chile. It's called the Bielsa Widows. Los Viudos de Bielsa.
Las Viudas
de Bielsa. So
what does this mean, David?
Well, the Bielsa, when every time that Bielsa leaves a team, he leaves a legacy in that team, and you still want him to play for you. Like that happened with Chile. That it came from the Chile
is that legacy pulled hamstrings for the players? Is that what the legacy is?
Yeah, he really runs them around, doesn't he?
No, but he got it in Chile. That name Viudas, the widows, Bielsa Widows.
Is this the right time though for him to move on from
I think so, and I think he would just probably. I mean, he plays the way he plays. He just brought beauty to the game. He brought excitement. He was able to break there was like a bad omen,
kind of a curse,
Leeds, right? Yeah, curse. They talk about it.
They talk about all the way. I mean, Leeds.
If you talk about the curse, right, there is a problem with that.
Yeah. And maybe younger fans aren't aware. Leeds are a massive club in England. I mean, in the 70s, 80s, this was a huge, huge club.
Right.
And they had fallen all the way down to the third division. They had gotten into a ton of financial issues and just couldn't really. They were kind of just mired in mid-table obscurity in the championship for so many years until Bielsa showed up. And they invested, fairly heavily, but not extraordinarily so. So really, this promotion push to get Leeds from the championship to the Premiership, a lot of that, you got to give Bielsa credit for it. It wasn't like a Wolves situation where they just pumped a bunch of money into the team, so of course they're going to go.
Yeah, like Newcastle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's going to happen with Newcastle, but it's exactly right, and you see that with where is the budget that Leeds has in comparison with Liverpool that beat him 6-0 the other day, right? You have 18 million during the transfer window to buy Leeds, and then you have 95 million for over 100 million for Liverpool, and Manchester City 212 million.
Wow!
And then you compare 212 million with 18 million. So what Bielsa have been doing with Leeds is just a miracle. It's a miracle, and now happens to be that Brentford, and the couple of the injuries, are like.
So Leeds are in trouble. I don't know, Jerry, if we could get the Premier League table. I don't know if you have access to that because Leeds are it's looking a little disconcerting, I think. They're in 16th place right now as it stands on 23 points. Burnley in that 18th position, so the first spot that would go down, they're on 21 points and have 2 matches in hand.
Yeah.
So it's getting real right now for Leeds. And just to kind of put it in perspective.
Now I have a question for you. Who the person that I think that they've already hired him is Jesse Marsh. So obviously a much different style than Bielsa. So Leeds was able to get not really. That's what I'm going to ask because Bielsa has a certain type of player that he got, but now that they're going to insert Jesse Marsh, is there going to be that much of an issue, or you think it's going to be a little smoother transition?
No, that's the reason why they got him, because he played a similar style.
Very direct, very high energy. There is some differences there. I mean, Bielsa really loves the man marking, and Marsh is more of a zonal style of press, so there will be a learning curve for those players. Marsh, similar to what we were seeing at Manchester United and Ralph Rangnick, he's from that same school. Ralph Hasenhüttl, those types of managers. So it's high intensity, very direct, but a little different from Bielsa. But yeah, there should still be a lot of overlap as well. But I want to ask you, David, about Bielsa, because we've seen this before, where it starts great. There's a wonderful kind of middle period where all the success comes. And then at the end, it's pulled hamstrings and a lot of injuries. Why does this happen? Is he just simply too much for players to handle for a long period of time?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you play under Bielsa, I mean, if you don't run, I mean, you better do something else. So
does he need to? And from what I understand, he actually did. Here's the table right here.
Yeah.
And so, I mean that. And
they're dangerously close to the
Leeds
relegation.
is really in Everton and Newcastle. Newcastle is coming.
This is a really interesting relegation fight. This is going to be a lot of fun. Is maybe not the word you should use to describe a relegation fight, but it'll be intriguing to watch, to be sure. Who are the 3 that go down for you, David?
No, I think Norwich will go down, and Burnley, and I think pretty much. I mean, Jesus. Leeds
really tight.
Leeds could be easily.
So you like Watford as a team that can get out of that mess there?
I think
all the minus 22 goal differential they got.
I mean, Crystal Palace just got lucky now. I mean, but I think Everton is going to get better, and Newcastle get more money, and more money is going to be getting out of there.
Yeah, I think Newcastle, just by virtue of the talent that they've brought in, I think they should be okay. But
Leeds definitely is going to be a risk, because to make that, I mean, you're going to make a substitution to another coach that have a similar view, and then you don't have much of a team, and you don't have much of a bench at all. That's the problem with Leeds, and the goalie. You know how I feel about that goalie. It's more goals than anybody else.
Because I mean,
I don't know. I mean, Bielsa deserved to be leaving the team, because he never, I didn't even have a different option there. We needed to see another option. I mean, too obstinate to do some substitution.
Right.
He doesn't want to change what he want to do, and he pays for it. And in many times, and the teams get tired. They get tired. Many of the teams really get tired, but they do. You have to acknowledge that he brings players that probably would never reach the level that they reach after Bielsa touched them, like Phillips, like Dallas.
And Phillips, to me, that was the injury that really hurt him. They've had a lot of injuries this season, but losing Phillips was the real killing blow.
Old Phillips, what he said about Bielsa, it's like he saw stuff that I would never thought I had.
Because he wasn't a defensive midfielder whenever Bielsa got there. And Bielsa saw in him, you're going to be my 6. You're going to be the holding midfielder for me.
So that's the thing.
He goes and plays holding midfield for England at the Euro.
Yeah. So Europe, that's huge, And
that's really the ultimate compliment to Bielsa there.
And then you bring all those players from the championship, and you have one season. You almost make it, but because of you're so cool, right? You're so into the morals. You wait another year, and you made that happen. The jump happen, and then you go into the Premier and first year, and you stay in the Premier League, and you do not only that, but you give the Premier League a new way to feel.
And they were up in the upper half of the Premier League in their first season, so they gave some fight to a lot of teams.
Yeah. So
they played very well.
I still remember that first game against Liverpool. His first game, that was such a, it was like a 4-3 or something like that. Yeah, just end to end. One of the great Premier League matches in recent memory.
Back and forth.
Marcelo Bielsa, you will be missed. Okay, just real quick, we're just about out of time. Jesse Marsch, you alluded to it earlier, Jorge. We do see some similarities there between his style and Bielsa's style. Is he the right appointment? Apparently, Leeds were wanting him to take over in the summer anyway. I guess it's just been accelerated. But is he the right appointment?
Well, that's what I say. It's a risky move. To say if you don't have the players, I mean, what are you gonna do? You need to go park the bus, pretty much. You need to get.
Doesn't seem like that's what Jesse Marsch has done.
That's what I think.
Is this more of a Big Sam type job? Do you think? And Sam Allardyce, should he have been the one getting the call here to come in? Do you want to park the bus? I mean, that's.
I mean, yeah, but you're not going to do that.
He's the Greyhound bus driver.
I mean, yeah, but I think you're not going to do it. I think it's a good appointment. I mean, to bring because the transition is going to be good, and we'll see.
It's an exciting appointment at the very least. I'm excited.
I think if anything, it'll give the club a little bit of injection of motivation to stay in the league. Anytime you bring a coach mid-season, there's two ways that it always goes. Either it goes worse or it gets better because they want to impress their new coach. So I think the players have enough pride to be able to show we're good enough to stay in the first division. So they're going to show up for Jesse Marsch. And so I'm hopeful the Leeds does that.
But and you have to notice the record that nobody left the team. Almost 99% of coaches leave the team when also the fan asking for them to leave. That was not the case.
That was not the case.
Why would you leave? Why would you leave Marcelo Bielsa? Okay, we are out of time here on Football in Vivo. Appreciate it, Jerry Lopez. Oh, look at Jerry Lopez.
Barcelona.
Barcelona
is back.
This is a Jerry Lopez special. Right as I'm ready to close, he loves to throw the La Liga match day stats up there on the screen. Look at that. I know you want to talk that Barcelona 4, Athletic Club 0.
That was wonderful to see. Aubameyang.
I actually watched Barcelona against Napoli in the Europa League. Yeah. They look good.
They look good.
I think they
turned the corner.
Hey, it's a different Barcelona. Remember when I told you about the guy Koeman? Yeah.
The guy Koeman.
That this is the new Barca.
He doesn't even have a first name.
Finally,
the guy Koeman.
Finally, we got a new Barca. And Sevilla, the Clásico, the Andalusian Clásico, huge Clásico that might play again in the Copa del Rey.
And look at your Real Betis.
Real Betis, 46 points. But
they're at third place. Wow.
Champions League. Remember I said last year Champions League.
You did. Champions League. You could be just 1 year too late on it.
But
for me right now, I know Real Madrid are at the top of the table. I think Barcelona are playing the best soccer in La Liga right now. And I say that as someone who was skeptical of Xavi's appointment. You were not. I was a bit skeptical. I'm becoming a believer.
But Dembélé. Dembélé was the man of the game. He had 3 assists, 2 assists, and a golazo. Dembélé goal, my God, that was a beauty.
The guy was
He was being booed, and then he was being applauded, Bravo for Dembélé and Barcelona. We got a new team. We got a real thing.
Unfortunately, they're not going to catch up to Real Madrid, but that's going to.
You never know. That's the same thing we say about Manchester City.
That is true.
They're like 15 points back. I don't see it happening. Okay. Unless Jerry's going to throw up some Bundesliga table or Serie A table. I think I'm for real when I say it right now. We are out of time. Jerry Lopez, thank you for your wonderful work behind the boards. As always, thanks you guys. And always go to clubdeportes.com. Make it your homepage. Excellent website. All the latest and greatest sports news information. We are Football in Vivo. Follow us at Football Austin on Twitter. Appreciate it, you guys. Let's do this again next week.
La Ver.